Ever feel like you're stuck in a rut when it comes to learning?
Yeah.
Teachers actually have some pretty amazing strategies to avoid that. Today we're going deep on how teachers keep learning and growing, even years into their careers.
Right.
It's not just about attending the occasional workshop. Think of it as a whole toolkit for becoming better and better at what they do in the classroom.
What's fascinating is that the most effective approaches actually mirror how we learn best in any field.
Okay.
It's all about personalization, reflection, and collaboration.
So no more one-size-fits-all professional development.
Exactly.
Wow.
Imagine a program that's as unique as the teacher themselves,
Okay.
taking into account their experience level, the specific challenges they face in their classroom,
Right.
and even their individual learning style.
Makes sense.
That's the power of personalized professional development.
Can you give me an example of what that actually looks like?
Let's say you have a new teacher struggling with classroom management. Okay.
Their personalized plan might focus on techniques for building routines and positive behavior systems.
Right.
On the other hand, a veteran teacher might be ready to dive into incorporating new technology or project-based learning into their curriculum.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But isn't creating all those individual plans a logistical nightmare?
It can be a challenge, but the payoff is huge.
Okay.
Research has shown that when teachers receive personalized professional development, they're more engaged.
Yeah.
They retain the information better.
Right.
And most importantly, their students benefit.
That's the goal.
In fact, one study found that personalized coaching for teachers led to a 10% increase in student reading scores.
Wow, that's significant.
Yeah.
So it's not just about making teachers feel good.
Right.
It's about a real impact on student learning.
Precisely.
I like it.
And this ties into another crucial strategy.
Okay.
Reflective practice.
Reflective practice.
Is that kind of like meditation for teachers?
It does involve introspection.
Okay.
But it's much more active than that.
Okay.
It's about teachers taking a step back to analyze their own teaching.
Okay.
What's working, what's not, and why.
Right.
They become almost like scientists.
So interesting.
Observing their classroom, collecting data, and making adjustments based on evidence rather than just gut feeling.
So what kind of data are we talking about? Grading rubrics.
It can be all of those things.
Okay.
Plus so much more.
Oh, wow.
Think student work samples, observations of student behavior during certain activities, even feedback from the students themselves.
Interesting.
It's about painting a full picture of what's happening in the classroom.
That sounds incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
But also really time-consuming.
It can be.
How do teachers find the time for all of this reflection?
Right.
On top of everything else they have to do?
That's where collaboration comes in. Professional learning communities, or PLCs, for a prime example.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So we're back, and I have to admit, the idea of teachers coming together in these professional learning communities is really intriguing, what happens in these PLCs.
Imagine a group of teachers from the same grade level or subject area meeting regularly to discuss their work.
Okay.
They might share lesson plans,
Right.
analyze student data,
Okay.
or brainstorm solutions to common challenges.
I see.
It's a chance to get feedback,
Yeah.
learn from each other's experiences, and develop a shared sense of purpose.
It sounds like a fantastic way to combat the isolation that teachers sometimes feel.
Yeah.
But isn't there a risk of groupthink, where everyone just agrees with each other and no one challenges the status quo?
That's a valid concern.
Okay.
But a well-functioning PLC should actually encourage diverse perspectives and constructive criticism. The goal is to create a space where teachers feel comfortable taking risks, trying new things, and learning from their mistakes.
You mentioned analyzing student data.
Yes.
Can you give me an example of how that plays out in a PLC?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Let's say a group of math teachers notice that their students are struggling with fractions.
Okay.
They could bring student work samples to their PLC meeting, analyze the types of errors students are making, and then collaboratively develop strategies for addressing those specific misconceptions.
So it's not just about venting about how much kids hate fractions.
Exactly. It's about actually digging into the data and finding solutions together.
And this data-driven approach is a key component of another powerful teacher learning strategy we've touched on. Action research.
Exactly.
Right. Action research where teachers become classroom detectives,
Yes.
gathering evidence and testing out hypotheses. I'm still a little fuzzy on how that works in practice.
Okay.
What does an action research project actually look like?
It starts with the teacher.
Okay.
Identifying a specific problem or question they want to investigate.
Okay.
Let's say a teacher notices that her students aren't participating actively in class discussions.
Something most teachers can probably relate to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So she might start by collecting data.
Okay.
Maybe she uses a tally sheet to track how often each student speaks up.
Okay.
Or she records a class discussion and analyzes it later.
So she's setting a baseline.
Yeah.
Getting a clear picture of what's actually happening
right.
before trying to fix anything.
Then, based on that data, she develops a hypothesis about what might improve participation.
Okay.
Maybe she thinks using a different discussion format would help.
Okay.
Or giving students more time to think before they respond.
And then she tests it out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She implements her chosen strategy and continues to collect data to see if it's having the desired effect.
It's a very scientific approach, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
And the beauty of action research is that it's tailored to the specific needs of the teachers, students, and classroom.
Right.
It's not about applying some generic theory.
Yeah.
It's about finding solutions that work in the real world.
Can you share an example of a successful action research project?
Sure.
Something that really made a difference.
I'd love to, for a teacher and their students.
Yeah.
I recently spoke with a high school English teacher.
Okay.
Who was concerned about her students' writing skills.
Okay.
She noticed that their essays lacked detail and their vocabulary was pretty limited.
It's like a common challenge.
Definitely.
Especially for high schoolers.
So she decided to implement a strategy called mentor sentences.
Interesting.
Essentially, she started each writing lesson by having students analyze a beautifully written sentence from a published author. They looked at word choice, sentence structure, the way the author created imagery.
So they were learning from the masters, so to speak.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then students were challenged to use those mentor sentences as inspiration for their own writing.
I see.
You had to incorporate specific vocabulary words or try out a new sentence structure in their own work.
Clever.
Yeah.
Well, did it work?
The results were pretty remarkable.
Okay.
Not only did the students' writing become more descriptive and engaging,
wow,
but they also started using more sophisticated vocabulary.
Wow.
In their everyday speech.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
And I imagined it was incredibly rewarding for the teacher.
Absolutely.
To see that kind of progress.
And it all stemmed from her willingness to ask a question, gather data, and experiment with a new approach.
It makes you realize that every teacher has the potential to be an innovator.
Yeah.
A researcher in their own right.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And this spirit of inquiry is something that can benefit teachers throughout their careers, regardless of their experience level or subject area.
We've talked a lot about personalized learning.
Yes.
Reflective practice, collaboration and action research. Are there any other trends in teacher learning that you're excited about?
One trend that I'm particularly interested in is the growing use of technology.
Okay, technology?
Yeah.
We live in a digital age, so that makes sense.
Right.
But how are teachers using technology to become better teachers?
Well, for starters, technology is making professional development much more accessible.
Okay.
Teachers can now take online courses, attend virtual conferences, and connect with colleagues from all over the world.
Wow.
All without ever leaving their homes.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Especially for teachers in rural areas.
Yeah.
Or those who face other barriers to attending traditional professional development programs.
Absolutely. It levels the playing field and gives everyone access
to high-quality learning opportunities.
That makes sense.
But it goes beyond just accessibility.
Okay.
Technology is also allowing for more personalized professional development experiences.
Okay.
There are now adaptive learning platforms that can tailor content and activities to individual teachers' needs and goals.
So it's like having a virtual coach.
That's a great analogy.
To guide you through your professional learning journey.
These platforms can track your progress.
Wow.
Recommend resources. And even suggest areas where you might need additional support.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So no more sitting through boring workshops that aren't relevant to your specific needs.
Hopefully not.
Wow, I like that.
And it's not just about individualized learning.
Okay.
Technology can also enhance collaboration among teachers.
Right.
We've got online communities, social media groups, and video conferencing tools that allow teachers to connect,
share resources, and support each other's growth.
It sounds like technology is breaking down barriers.
Exactly.
And creating a truly global network of educators.
And this interconnectedness can be incredibly powerful.
Right.
Allowing teachers to learn from the best practices and innovative ideas happening all over the world.
This is making me wish I had gone into teaching.
Well, it's never too late to learn.
That's true.
And the great thing about these teacher learning strategies is that they're not limited to the classroom.
Okay.
They can be applied in any field where continuous learning and improvement are valued.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah.
So what can our listeners, many of whom aren't teachers, take away from this deep dive?
Whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, an entrepreneur, or a stay-at-home parent, the principles we've discussed today can help you become a more effective learner and problem solver.
Okay.
Embrace personalized learning. Engage in reflective practice. Seek out opportunities for collaboration. And don't be afraid to experiment and learn from your experiences.
So it's not just about what teachers do.
Right.
It's about a mindset.
Precisely.
A commitment to continuous growth that we can all benefit from. It's funny, we often talk about teachers preparing students for the real world.
Right.
But it seems like the rest of us could learn a lot.
Yeah.
From how teachers approach learning itself.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
There's a real shift happening in how we think about professional development.
Okay.
Not just for teachers, but in all fields.
Right.
It's moving away from that sit and listen model to something much more active and engaging.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
Personalized learning, reflective practice, those dynamic professional learning communities.
Right.
And teachers becoming researchers through action research. It's pretty inspiring stuff.
What I find most exciting is how these strategies empower teachers to be agents of change, not just in their own classrooms, but in the wider education system.
Can you give me an example of what that looks like in action?
Imagine a school where teachers are encouraged to experiment with new teaching methods based on the latest research in cognitive science. They share their findings with colleagues, refine their approaches, and collectively create a more effective learning environment for all students.
So it becomes a cycle of continuous improvement.
Exactly.
With teachers leading the way.
And this ripple effect can extend beyond the school walls.
Interesting.
Teachers who engage in action research, for example, often present their findings at conferences. Or publish articles in professional journals. Sharing their knowledge and inspiring others to try new things.
It's almost like a grassroots movement for better teaching and learning.
I love that analogy. And this movement is gaining momentum thanks to technology. Online platforms are connecting teachers across geographical boundaries, creating virtual spaces for collaboration, knowledge sharing, and professional growth.
It's amazing to think that a teacher in a small rural town can connect with colleagues from all over the world.
It is.
Sharing ideas and learning from each other's experiences.
And that interconnectedness is only going to increase in the future. I believe we're on the cusp of a major transformation in teacher learning.
Wow.
Driven by advancements in technology, a deeper understanding of how the brain learns, and a growing recognition of the importance of teacher leadership.
So what's the big takeaway for our listeners? What can they learn from these innovative teacher learning strategies, even if they're not in the education field?
The key takeaway is this. Learning is a lifelong journey. And the most effective learning is personalized, reflective, and collaborative. No matter your profession or your passions, cultivate a mindset of curiosity. Seek out diverse perspectives and embrace the power of experimentation.
And don't be afraid to make mistakes along the way.
Absolutely. Mistakes are simply opportunities for learning and growth.
I like that.
In fact, some of the most valuable lessons come from our missteps and failures.
Well said. It seems like teachers have figured out some key secrets to lifelong learning, and we can all benefit from their wisdom.
I wholeheartedly agree.
This has been such an enlightening conversation.
It has.
Thanks for taking us on this deep dive.
My pleasure.
Into the fascinating world of teacher learning strategies.
Of course.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
We hope you've gained some valuable insights that you can apply to your own learning journey.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep exploring.
Yes.
Keep questioning. And keep diving deep